人にはどうしても引けない時があります。俺は絶対許さない。日の神かぐ
切らせないから。今度はさっき
今度はいける。切れる。
そうなんだ。
Back in the cavern, Tengen greets his wives by patting them on the head and compliments the great work they put in, causing them to tear up as Suma holds onto him and cries. Inosuke calls out to the god of festivities, and gets mad at him for allowing the obi to escape, but Tengen loses his temper and defends his wives, saying that they saved the people that were trapped. Makio interrupts him to say that they need to leave immediately before things get worse, and he quickly instructs everyone to follow him. Everything will be always flashy, just like how Tengen said, "Welcome to our channel, guys. Please subscribe to our channel, like the video. We will talk about Demon Slayer episode 6. Now on the rooftops, Tengen sprints towards the battlefield as Inosuke and Zenitsu struggle to catch up. In the middle of the battle between Daki and Tanjiro, the obi comes flying and unexpectedly enters Daki's body. Tanjiro realizes that the obi is returning to Daki's main body and tries to attack her, but she quickly disappears. She reappears on a nearby rooftop as her hair turns white. She squeals with delight as she learns there's a Hashira within the district. At that moment, a bystander discovers Tanjiro acting suspiciously on the street and tells him to stop fighting in front of his shop. Daki overhears the man and becomes enraged by his comment. She lashes out a flurry of attacks on the buildings around her and ends up cutting off the man's arm in the process. She also manages to kill other bystanders in the nearby houses. Tanjiro sees the bloodshed nearby and tells the man to tie a tourniquet around his arm, despite bleeding heavily himself. Daki begins to walk away after destroying the houses, but Tanjiro tells her he won't allow her to get away with it. Daki cockingly tells him to stop speaking to her since he is just another rotten corpse. As she spoke to him, Tanjiro's heart beginning to beat louder and louder as his eyes fill with rage. Tanjiro recalls a letter that was addressed to him by Shinjiro Rengoku, who admits that he had wronged him. In the letter he thanks him for mourning Kyojiro's death, as well as for befriending Senjiro, and proceeds to express his embarrassment for his behavior when they first met. He explained that he was wallowing in sorrow over the death of his wife and incompetence as a Hashira that he turned to alcohol. Despite his lack of presence as a father, Kyojiro had proven himself to be a better son that he was by managing to become a Hashira, even after Shinjiro had refused to continue teaching him. Shinjiro writes in his letter that Tanjiro is gifted with a power and is destined for greatness as seen from the Demon Slayer mark he was born with. However, Tanjiro clarifies that Shinjiro is wrong because he wasn't born with the mark. He recalls getting the mark when he was protecting his younger brother from a falling brazier, and it then changed in appearance during the final selection. Unlike his father who was born with the mark, Tanjiro simply acquired it, meaning he wasn't a chosen one. Nonetheless, he refuses to back down. As Daki walks away from him, Tanjiro quickly grabs her and narrowly cuts her neck, but she manages to avoid the attack and back away from him. She loses her foot in the process, but her regeneration skills allow her to develop a new one within seconds. Tanjiro notices her regeneration and asks Daki why she steals people's lives and ruins them. His tone of voice comes off as familiar to Daki and she envisions a different swordsman before her. Although she doesn't recognize the swordsman, Daki realizes that she is envisioning Muzan's memories. Tanjiro continues to question her reasoning and taunts her with the fact that she was once a human who endured hardships as well. Daki becomes enraged by Tanjiro's comments and smashes her first into the roof tile, demanding that he stop rambling about the past since she is now demon. Daki proceeds to glorify the privileges of being a demon, seemingly mocking the circumstances that humans face. Having heard enough from her, Tanjiro approaches Daki to make an attack, but she defends herself using her blood demon art. 8-layered obi slash to keep him from closing in. Her confidence grows as Daki believes that she is now untouchable due to the fact that she has returned back to her original form. She bids Tanjiro farewell and begins to think about going after the Hashira. However, Tanjiro utilizes the Hinakami Kagura, burning bones, summer sun to burn the obi blocking his path. Daki is left stunned by her wounds and inability to regenerate to the point where she begins to shake, and is left to defend herself from Tanjiro's flurry of attacks. He closes in and swings his blade to decapitate her, but she continues to resist as her neck transforms into an obi, refusing to be cut. Tanjiro's blade can be seen struggling as it tries to cut through Daki's obi-like neck. The resisting cloth forces Tanjiro to abandon his attack and escape before Daki has the chance to fight back. However, when he tries to recollect his thoughts, Daki charges towards him and tries to slash him. Tanjiro analyzes her movements and has realized that he can see her in slow motion, giving him the advantage. As her wild obi attacks him from multiple directions, Tanjiro manages to pin them all in a single spot and proceeds to charge at her while cutting away at the obi. His flames burn the obi away, and within seconds he comes into a close proximity to Daki. However, just when he is about to decapitate her, Tanjiro envisions his sister Hanako desperately begging her brother to breathe. In that moment, Tanjiro loses his focus and begins gasping for air after nearly passing his physical limitations. He collapses onto the ground, finally feeling the pain that he had been suppressing, and his eyes begin to bleed. It is revealed that he had been acting on anger and had been using his life force to surpass his limitations. However, his sister was able to warn him before he could sustain any life-threatening damage. Daki glares down at Tanjiro and berates him for his weakness as a human. She mocks his injuries and slowly approaches him to deliver the final blow. Before she can deliver the attack, a leg comes down and kicks Daki hard behind, rupturing her head. Nezuko can be seen boiling with rage as she stands between Tanjiro, who's struggling to breathe on the ground, and Daki. Nezuko recalls the memories of when her family was slaughtered on that snowy night, and her rage grows stronger as she prepares to fight the upper-rank demon. Daki's head and face begins to regenerate as she glares holes into Nezuko. She recognizes her as the demon Muzan Kibutsuji had told her about. Nezuko's face begins to transform as her infinite anger begins to push her forward, leaving the watcher wondering what would happen in Nezuko's case. Begin a demon with no physical limitations. Back when Muzan Kibutsuji arrived at the Kyogoku house to see Daki, he had told her to find the demon who had escaped his grasp like Tamayo. He identifies her as having a hemp-patterned kimono as well as a checkerboard obi and tells Daki that she is his last hope to catch Nezuko. Now in the present, Daki promises that she will kill Nezuko and lay her down at Muzan's feet as proof. Nezuko faces Daki and charges to once again try to kick off Daki's head. However, Daki is able to cut off Nezuko's leg using her obi. While Nezuko looks down at her bleeding thigh, Daki uses the opportunity to knock her off of the roof, and blast her into a nearby building. As the two demons are fighting, Tanjiro falls unconscious and envisions his brother, Takeo. In his dream, Takeo mentions how Tanjiro and Nezuko are very alike when they're kind and angry, and goes on to recall an instance when he saw Nezuko get angry. He explains how fearful he was when he saw her and was worried about her lack of concern for herself, mentioning that within an instant, she could have lost everything she holds dear. Back in the fight, Daki jumps down from the rooftop and approaches Nezuko, who's trapped underneath a pile of rubble. She mocks her for being weak and being a half-developed demon, since she hasn't eaten any demons. Daki continues to provoke her and cockily says that she will not fight Nezuko anymore, and will simply leave her trapped and expose her to the sun instead. However, before Daki can say anything else, Nezuko comes out from the rubble and regenerates her leg in an instant, leaving Daki stunned at her abilities. Nezuko proceeds to instantaneously regenerate her arm, which was cut off as well, leaving Daki uneasy as she realizes that her regenerative abilities are on par with an upper-rank demon. Nezuko's body transforms as she breaks her bamboo muzzle. A horn grows out of the right side of her forehead and her body also becomes covered in ivy like demon crests. Daki gets more intimidated by Nezuko's change in aura and she tries to defend herself from one of her kicks, successfully cutting it off with her obi. However, before she can cut Nezuko's head, Daki is still smashed into the ground by Nezuko's kick. As always, we ask and plead to please subscribe and hit the notification bell. Also stay tuned for more videos.
胴体が泣き別れになってるでしょ。動かない方がいいわよ。時間の無駄だし。 か？足が再生してるんだけど、足どころかさっき体切断したわよ。今の回復サイズ上限に匹敵する。また君は首よ。